Hey, it's Mr. Kaczynski here. We're going to add and subtract radical expressions in this video. It's part of IXL's Algebra 1 section EE. Not a lot to this. Basically, since these both these radical expressions here have the same square root of 2 that they're being multiplied by, we can just add their coefficients. The 5 plus the 8 makes 13. And that's it. That's our answer. 5 times the square root of 2 plus 8 times the square root of 2 is 13 times the square root of 2. The reason that works is that since they both have a common factor of the square root of 2, we can factor that out and make it square root of 2 times 5 plus 8. And then the 5 plus 8 is 13. So that's why. It's kind of like combining like terms. If those were both x's, we could make it 13x. All right, so same idea here. 4 minus 7 is negative 3. We can do that only when the radicals are the same. So negative 3 times the square root of 3 would be a simpler way to write that expression. We run into problems when the terms don't have the same square root sign. So here, like this, you can't just do negative 7 plus 10 because they don't have the same square root. So negative 7, square root of 7. We can simplify this second term though, as in the square root of 63 has a perfect square factor, 9. So negative 7 times the square root of 7 plus 10 times the square root of 9, square root of 9 is 3, times the square root of 7. That would then become this, negative 7 times the square root of 7 plus 30, 10 times 3 is 30, times the square root of 7. And now we can add these two coefficients here and make 23 times the square root of 7. This one is like that again. We've got this 56 and this 14. The square root of 14 cannot be simplified, so we'll just leave it as 4 times the square root of 14. However, the square root of 56 can be simplified because 56 is divisible by 4, which is a perfect square. So let's rewrite it in expanded form, or not completely expanded, but let's make it 4 times 14. That's 56, and 4 is a perfect square. All right, so we've got 4 times the square root of 14 minus 10 times the square root of 4, which is 2, times the square root of 14. We can keep simplifying because 10 times 2 is 20. So we've got 4 times the square root of 14 minus 20 times the square root of 14, and that's negative 16 times the square root of 14. And that's the simplified radical expression. And then in this one, both the square root of 40 and the square root of 90 can be simplified. So square root of 40 has a perfect square factor, 4. We can make it 4 times 10. And then square root of 90, 90's got a perfect square factor, 9, so we can make it 9 times 10. So in this case, we'll do negative 5 times the square root of 4, also known as 2, times the square root of 10, minus 6 times the square root of 9, which is equivalent to 3, times the square root of 10. That gives us negative 10 times the square root of 10, minus 18 times the square root of 10, which is equal to negative 28 times the square root of 10. And that's our simplified radical, because we've added everything and subtracted everything we can add and subtract, and also the radical does not have any perfect square factors. All right, so that's a good intro to adding and subtracting radical expressions. Good luck to you.